Hello! In-soo is an ordinary guy who likes to draw. But apart from that, he has a secret. He can communicate with ghosts. Behind each of them is a tragic death story. Uninvited guests ask the protagonist to intervene and help them find eternal peace. His peers have always believed that In-soo himself attracts evil spirits. The life of the guy has turned into constant suffering, but that only helps him better understand those who need his help. And in his new school, the boy will have to delve into the depths of this place's past and find out all the terrible secrets of the school's corridors.
가만히 있어.
Korea, present day. A train rides through Seoul at night. In-soo is coming home from school. A mysterious amulet is hanging from his arm. He gets a call from his mom, who asks him if her son is having trouble in his new class. In-soo replies that everything is fine. He's stopped seeing ghosts, and if he does see them, he won't get scared. As a last resort, he can ask his uncle for help. For a moment, he is distracted by a loud woman at the other end of the train car. In-soo puts his phone down next to the drawing of his mother he was working on before. Suddenly, he realizes that the disc on his necklace is spinning wildly. An unpleasant chill runs down his spine. The guy looks around and is horrified to notice a ghost in a white dress, who whispers something to the woman next to it. In-soo tries not to show that he has seen something unusual. Suddenly, his classmates run up to him. They rudely pick on the boy.
여기도 뭐 있냐?
The teenager merely laughs it off so as not to attract unnecessary attention. No one must know about his secret, including the ghosts themselves. He doesn't want to move again and change schools. At the stop, everyone but the guy gets off the train. In-soo exhales in relief, but then the unpleasant feeling hits him again. The ghost girl has spotted his eyes on her and is looking straight into the young psychic's soul. In-soo hurries through the night streets. He enters his home, checking with his amulet to see if he's being haunted by a scary ghost. The apartment is empty and he relaxes. But his peace of mind doesn't last long. The ghost in a blood-stained dress is sitting right on his shoulders, but she's not here to hurt him. The girl asks for help and tells him where she was killed. In-soo has to go to the police and ride with the cops to the park, where they find the body. The ghost looks at her tormented body and screams in horror. Only In-soo can hear the girl's bitter sobs, so he tries to cover his ears to not go crazy. He can't handle all of this alone and later calls his uncle. The man leads a reclusive life and watches TV all day long. He lies to his nephew that he is very busy studying exorcism and is surprised that the boy wants to live with him. The uncle can also see ghosts and suffers from their visits. Two mediums under one roof would cause too much of an influx of otherworldly beings. In-soo would gladly live alone, but he needs help. At the playground, the guy is haunted by yet another dead boy. The uncle yells into the phone that he can't let the ghosts notice his powers, or they won't leave him alone. In-soo has already arranged for a school transfer to his home village. The absent-minded uncle lives in his parents' house. They both remember the incident that happened to In-soo in elementary school. In-soo reaches the village by bus. At the bus stop, he sees a beautiful girl in a school uniform. She catches his glance and smiles at the embarrassed boy. In-soo shyly turns away. He reaches the house with ghost-repellent charms hanging on the gate. The uncle cautiously lets the guest inside and notes that these amulets don't do much to help. Nearby is a picture of the protagonist's great-grandfather, a famous exorcist. It was his amulet that In-soo inherited. Uncle invites the boy for tea. The man is terribly afraid of open spaces. It's because of ghosts. They not only talk to him, but can take over his body. In-soo's mother told him that her brother broke into the woman's bathhouse in that condition. Uncle is angry for reminding him of this incident.
그런 소리 할 것 같으면 너 미국으로 가. 할머니들밖에 없었어. 자.
In-soo says that his mother has stayed in America. He thought that after moving there, the ghosts would stop bothering him, but the opposite turned out to be true. They only drove him crazier because he didn't understand English well. He feels much calmer in Korea. Afterward, In-soo goes to school. There's a sign above the entrance that says the school is safe and free of violence. The teacher introduces the newcomer to the class and asks everyone to be friendly. The girl at the back of the class invites In-soo to sit next to her. Behind her are two boys that she clearly has wrapped around her finger. These boys clearly don't like that there's a new competitor for Hyunji's attention. The girl, in turn, immediately takes a liking to the handsome guy from the big city. In-soo shyly rejects the pushy classmate's advances. During his next class, the boy is overcome by his paranormal senses. He sees a ghost and a bloody palm print in the window. This scares In-soo. He's never encountered anything like this before. In the evening, his uncle explains that such spirits have a lot of hatred inside them and can be very dangerous. Again, he advises his nephew to ignore them completely. Notices a girl with a dog and decides to draw them. He's approached by the stranger he saw at the bus stop. She compliments his drawing and explains that the girl is blind and the dog is her guide.
너도 안내견이 보이나 봐?
The boy tenses up, and In-soo's suspicions are correct. He is once again haunted by a ghost, and the dog is long dead. Suddenly, two of Hyun-ji's friends notice him. They demand that he stay away from the girl. In-soo responds that he didn't even think about dating her. This only further offends the bully who's in love with her. Hae-chol lunges at the guy and throws him to the ground. It turns out the bully went to elementary school with In-soo and remembers the mysterious incident. That day their classmate Ah-young disappeared. Her ghost appeared to the boy and told him that she had drowned. In-soo tried to tell this to the teachers, but they didn't believe him. Hae-chol doesn't want the class to get involved in similar incidents again and demands that he stay quiet. That same night, in a dark barn, an unknown person kills a dog of a student named Song-hee. The distraught girl walks home from school thinking that her pet simply ran away. She doesn't notice that someone is following her. It turns out to be Hyun-ji and her friend, who sneak up on Song-hee and scare her. The student returns home and hears the sound of dripping water. A strange black bag is hanging from the ceiling. Song-hee walks closer and discovers her dog's collar on the floor. Blood is dripping on it. At this point, the bag bursts, and its contents spill right on the girl's head. In a panic, Song-hee runs to the sink, and with her side vision, notices a silhouette. It's a girl with a blood-stained medical mask on her face. Letting out a cry of horror, the poor girl grabs a knife to defend herself, but the ghost disappears as quickly as it appeared. The girl manages to pick up the phone and call Hyun-ji. She recognized the frightening figure as Se-hee, who has come back from the afterlife. Her friend doesn't understand what's going on and soon hears a piercing scream on the other end of the line. The next day at school, Hyun-ji sees that her friend is not in class. She assumes that Seong-hee has run away from home again. At recess, In-soo is visited by the ghost of the schoolgirl again. The boy tries to ignore her, and this offends the spirit. She declares that she doesn't need any help.
내가 뭐 네가 마음에 들어서 이러는 줄 알아? 심심한데 선택의 여지가 없잖아.
In-soo loosens up and asks if the phantom stranger used to go to this school. The girl replies that she doesn't remember anything, not even her name. At this time, Hae-chol rudely bullies one of the classmates. The spirit is angry that In-soo doesn't stand up for the guy. Suddenly, she starts shaking with fear. The schoolgirl says that the mask is approaching them and they need to stay quiet. The ghost leaves, and Hae-chol falls from the paranormal influence. In-soo sees his amulet spinning again and peeks into the nearby garage. An unknown ghost turns around, but the guy successfully hides his surprise and calmly walks away. Meanwhile, Seong-hee is still alive, but tied up and lying on the floor of a dark shed. There is a loud banging coming from a metal closet. The victim screams with all her might, but the gag prevents her from calling for help. Only a mysterious man in a jacket standing outside can hear her. In the meantime, the uncle shows In-soo a pair of magic blades. Any spell that is cast on the sword will immediately work on the dagger as well. The nephew is preoccupied with other thoughts. The boy's upset that he didn't help his classmate during recess. His uncle tells him that things were different when he went to school, and friends used to stand up for each other. In-soo mentions the incident in the elementary school. Had he told the truth, A-young's tormentor would have been caught much faster. Uncle calms the kid down. This isn't a small child's responsibility. Furthermore, because of all the unnecessary rumors and gossip, they had to move. The man notices a ghost on the roof, the same one that his nephew discovered in the garage. The next day, In-soo tells his friend that A-young was the first ghost to appear before him. The boy managed to convince the adults and help them find the body. In-soo was shocked at the sight of the girl's inconsolable parents. They really wanted to find the culprit, and the classmate's ghost even told him who it was. But In-soo was shaking with terror and didn't dare say his name. Now the guy wants to make up for it. To do this, he comes to the house of Ah-young's family and tearfully apologizes to the girl's father. The man doesn't blame In-soo for anything, but only thanks him for his help. Ah-young's ghost smiles and waves to the guests.
아영이가 널 기다리고 있었나 봐.
The girl vanishes. She has found her peace. In-soo feels like a huge weight has been lifted off his shoulders. As he and the ghost girl ride back on a bicycle, the first snow falls. The guy notices that his friend rubs her hands together to keep warm out of habit. He wants the girl to feel alive, so he warms her palms with his breath. She does feel the warmth from it. After a failed attempt at taking a picture together, In-soo draws a portrait of the two of them. They seem to be falling in love, despite the circumstances. And at school, Hyun-ji harasses the classmate again. No one dares to interfere because they're afraid of Hae-chol.
여자한테 맞으니까 쪽팔려? 화나? 신경질나?
In-soo can't stand it any longer. and grabs the girl by the hand. The situation escalates, but the rest of the class doesn't seem to care. The boy manages to defend the victim. The bullies decide to leave. At home, In-soo draws his nameless girlfriend again. She plays a cute prank on him in return by playing hide and seek. His uncle is now pestered by the ghost of the woman who doesn't tell him anything and just hangs around silently. The nephew talks aloud about a certain mask that wanders around the school. Suddenly, the mute spirit calls out the name of the bloody ghost, Sei-hee. This shocks the uncle, who couldn't get a word out of the bizarre woman. Meanwhile, Ki-tae and his girlfriend sneak into the school to return a confiscated cell phone. The pair get up to some mischief in the empty classroom, after which, the girl goes to the bathroom. Ki-tae lies down on the desk, and a stranger draws a knife on him. Afterward, someone knocks on his girlfriend's bathroom stall. The student comes out and slowly walks along the dark stalls, opening one after another. Sei-hee appears out of the darkness wearing a bloody mask. The victim runs to the classroom, calling out for Ki-tae, but finds only his body. In a panic, she calls Hyun-ji, but the mask catches up with her. A chilling scream echoes through the school hallways. A third student goes missing, causing the teachers to worry. Hyun-ji continues to believe that the friends ran away on their own. She secretly listens to a recording of her missing friend calling out Sei-hee's name. Even more surprising to the troublemaker is that In-soo also knows that name and asks his classmates about it. He is told that Sei-hee has taken her own life. The guy asks to see a photograph of the girl. Hyun-ji intervenes and says that Sei-hee was a horrible person, so no one would keep pictures of such a nasty girl. In-soo insists and asks the other classmates. However, all of them do what Hyun-ji said and simply remain silent. But a little later, one of the students secretly sends a picture of Sei-hee to the guy. At this time, In-soo was with his ghost friend. In-soo cautiously asks her about the dead girl. The schoolgirl replies that until people started disappearing, no one cared about Sei-hee.
왠지 알아? 다들 세희가 죽은 이유를 알고 있으니까.
In-soo realizes that Hyun-ji and Hae-chol are definitely involved. He sees them on the bridge and immediately rushes into a fight. The guy blames the bullies for Sei-hee's death. He demands that they tell the truth and repent. Otherwise, the girl's ghost will come after them. In response to his threats, Hae-chol punches the guy. But later, Hyun-ji starts to feel guilty. She worries about her missing classmates and shows her friend a photo of one of the victims. In the photo, she also recognizes Sei-hee's father by his angry stare that scared her at his daughter's funeral. Hae-chol asks her how she got the photo, but Hyun-ji evades answering. Instead, she says that the man may be involved in the disappearance of the schoolmates. Hae-chol arms himself with a bat and leads the girl to the man's house. Hyun-ji offers to call In-soo, but the stubborn man wants to handle it himself. A battered In-soo returns home. There, his uncle continues to put up protective structures against the mute ghost. He rejoices at his momentary success, but the woman easily topples his pyramid, and afterward, snacks on paper talismans. The nephew reveals that he's found out more about Sei-hee. Her spirit has split personalities. One is his sweet schoolgirl friend, and the other is the deadly mask. The uncle confirms his guess. The identity split before her death, when the girl could no longer contain her pain and anger. That's when the mask appeared, who is out for revenge. At that moment, In-soo gets a message from Hyun-ji. She asks the guy to come to Sei-hee's house. The uncle sees this and panics. He doesn't want to let his inexperienced nephew go, but he is also too afraid to leave the house himself. In-soo accuses his uncle of cowardice and rushes out. The man convinces the boy to take his great-grandfather's magic dagger, but stays behind himself to prepare an exorcism ritual. Meanwhile, Hyun-ji and Hae-chol sneak into a dark shed with a flashlight. It's very cold inside. They are startled by a noise coming from a metal closet. The guy gets closer, and the doors begin to jerk with terrible force. The couple rushes to the exit, but the gate slams shut in front of their faces. In panic, they try to make something out in the darkness. The flashlight's beam lands on the far corner. Sei-hee is standing there, wearing a bloody mask. The battery dies, and now the shed is lit only by the flame of a lighter. Hae-chol lunges in desperation to fight the ghost, while Hyun-ji slumps to the floor. She notices a hand sticking out from under the blanket. There lie the bodies of her missing friends. A scream of horror reaches In-soo. He's close, but Sei-hee's father has already snuck up on Hae-chol, and the man hits him over the head with a wrench. Hyun-ji watches this in hysterics. She finds herself face to face with the man who is possessed by his daughter's ghost. The bully backs herself into a corner and tries to apologize, but it's too late. Heavy blows fall on the girl, taking her life. A minute later, In-soo walks up to the shed. Sei-hee's possessed father slowly walks out. completely ignoring the boy. In a daze, the teenager walks inside. He's horrified by the sight he witnesses, but In-soo overcomes his fear. He must make sure there are no more new victims. The hero explores the closet, where he finds the frozen body of Se-hee in a white mask. In-soo carefully reveals his friend's face. It's indeed her, just as beautiful, but forever robbed of her smile. It all started when Se-hee wrote an anonymous report on Hyun-ji, who was bullying their classmate. The teacher showered the bully with insults.
너 때려봐야 내 손만 아프고 저 부모랑 안 사는데 너 지금 나랑 장난하니?
The woman didn't care that Hyun-ji's father had run off with a mistress and her mother had killed herself. In anger, the troubled teen decided to take revenge on the snitch. The teacher forgot to hide the letter, and the girl figured out it was Se-hee by her handwriting. Hyun-ji attacked the girl, burning her with a lighter and ruining her hair. Afterwards, she and her 4 friends painted her face and put on a mask, which she was forbidden to remove on pain of death. The bully called Se-hee her slave and did whatever she wanted to her. The whole class was afraid to cross the group of scoundrels. The girl complained to her father, who suggested reporting the matter to the police, but the intimidated student flatly refused to ask for help again. Neither the teachers nor the school administration protected her in any way. Se-hee became completely disillusioned with authority figures. The man didn't know what to do and could only weep quietly in despair. On the fateful day, the homeroom teacher ripped off Se-hee's mask, demanding that she adhere to the school uniform. For this, Hyun-ji once again severely punished the girl at recess. The poor girl watched her classmates, who continued to enjoy a normal school life, while she was living in pure hell. She couldn't take it anymore and took her own life in her father's barn. The man found her body under the ceiling and went crazy with grief. After her death, Se-hee took revenge on her abusers by possessing her father. In-soo finds Se-hee's house and her room. Everything is still there, including the girl's photos, diaries, and drawings. The boy sees one of them and remembers his childhood friend. They were sitting next to each other, drawing. It was Se-hee. Turns out they knew each other a long time ago. In one of the diaries, the guy finds the name of another person that the mask wants to take revenge on. It's the teacher who is indulging in the bullying. In-soo hurries to the school and calls his uncle to urgently come to the barn and perform the exorcism ritual on Se-hee's body. The man realizes it's time to put his gift to good use. He takes everything he needs and goes outside for the first time in years. Meanwhile, the teacher is visited by the mask. The ghost possesses the woman and gathers the students in the library. In-soo finds the classmates, and they immediately smell the pungent scent of gasoline. The possessed teacher spills the canister to punish everyone who coldly watched Se-hee suffer.
너희들은 다 알면서도 모르는 척을 했어. 니들도 똑같아.
In-soo begs the mask to stop, but the vengeful spirit is already throwing a lighter to burn the school to the ground. At the last moment, Se-hee's kind ghost stops the disaster. She and the mask argue over whether the classmates deserve to die. The evil ghost lists all the horrors the girl endured, and at the end calls her weak, making her disappear. In-soo lunges at the teacher and knocks her to the floor. Meanwhile, his uncle arrives at the barn and puts on his great-grandfather's costume. The exorcist places Se-hee's body in the center of the circle and pulls out the magic sword. And at the school, the mask is hiding among the students. In-soo pulls out his amulet to find the ghost. The disc vibrates next to the girl that Se-hee originally wanted to protect. She didn't remain grateful when Hyun-ji stopped bullying her and found herself a new victim. It wasn't until In-soo asked for a photo of the girl that she couldn't stand it and helped him. The mask is holding the lighter in her hand again. In-soo shows her the children's sketchbook. Years ago, he himself was bullied, and there was one brave girl who intervened.
세희야, 더 일찍 알아보지 못했습니다.
In-soo had dropped his sketchbook back then, and she picked it up. Inside was a portrait of the girl. Se-hee couldn't return the notebook because the guy left, so she kept it. The mask disappears, and the kind spirit gives the lighter to In-soo, but the suppressed anger takes over again, and the bloody ghost tries to prevent the rescue. The uncle manages to get to the last stage of the ritual and plunges the sword into the girl's body. He gives his nephew a new sign, but before In-soo can do anything, the ghost grabs the dagger and stabs herself. Se-hee appears in the shocked guy's arms. With tears in their eyes, they say their last goodbyes. In order for the girl to find peace, a real funeral is held for her. 5 years later, the local school is finally truly safe and free of bullying, and the clingy ghost still lives with the uncle. They have become friends and brighten each other's loneliness. In-soo is here too. He returns to school as an intern teacher. Today is his first day. The young man hasn't had a problem with ghosts in a long time, but as soon as class starts, he sees a girl with a sickly blue face at the last desk. He asks if that seat has always been vacant. The kids reply that their classmate transferred to Seoul. In-soo smiles nervously in response. The ghost approaches the guy and looks straight into his soul with red eyes. It seems In-soo will have to combine his job as a teacher and exorcist. Rumor has it the director of the film, In-chan, is extremely afraid of ghosts and falls asleep at home with the TV on when he is alone. This is his first feature-length horror movie. In addition to this, he also makes comedy action movies. The man grew up on classic Jackie Chan movies. The actors mentioned that despite the gloomy atmosphere of the movie, they had a lot of fun on the set. They felt nostalgic about wearing their school uniforms and sitting behind desks again. Many of them were 25 years old or older at the time of filming. Some actors were surprised at how vividly the topic of school bullying was depicted. Bullying is still a big problem in South Korean schools. As always, look for the name of the movie in the description of the video. In the meantime, let us know in the comments, have you ever seen ghosts? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like so that more awesome stories come out as often as possible.